When the movie first started, I swear to God, dude, where they were like, I'll love you for the rest of my life. How about just for the rest of mine? I was like, is this a Twilight movie?
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. Follow Daniel at DStarSick on Twitter. Follow Ryan at Darth Damio on the Bluebird app. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Welcome to episode 51 of the Horror of Babylon, where we are discussing horns. I am Ryan, and with me as always is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
Ryan, are you horny?
I'm warming up. Okay, so this is both of our first time watching this film, correct?
Yes.
And neither of us have read the book.
Nope.
Okay, and why are we watching this particular movie?
Because we did giveaways for our 13 days of Halloween. And a coworker of mine won the wheel spin, and he told us to watch this.
Thank you, sir.
I thought he was going to make us watch something like super gross, like I don't know, a Serbian film or Sallow or something I've seen. So it's like, no, watch horn.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Okay, so a little bit of background. This is based on a novel by Joe Hill, who is, if you do not know, one of the two sons of Stephen King, both of which are authors. It is directed by Alexandra, and I'm not sure how to say your last name, Aja, maybe?
Aja, I don't know, it depends on if the J's silent.
They are the director of the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, Piranha 3D, and Crawl, among some other horror movies.
This explains a lot.
I haven't seen any of the... I saw the first 5 or 10 minutes of The Hills Have Eyes, and then the theater people ejected me from the building.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was on a date and got snuck her into an R-rated movie, and they caught us and threw us out. Screenplay written by Keith Bunnan, who wrote Onward, which is one of my favorite modern Pixar movies, which confuses me.
I haven't seen Onward.
Oh, it's so good. So good. This movie was premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival September 6th of 2013, and then had a theatrical release over a year later in October of 2014.
They saved it for the Halloween season.
But that was 1 month out. They could have just done it the next month. I could not find the budget, but the total box office was $3.9 million. So I'm imagining it's a situation where the movie was so unprofitable that they didn't want to release the budget so it wouldn't be known like how bad it actually did.
Yeah, and that's weird too, because those are hard to keep secret these days.
Yeah, but I did look all over the place for it and couldn't find it. So not a great box office performance, and it was very poorly critically received as well, which I always take that with a grain of salt, but of course, you know, critics do know a little bit about movies, so sometimes they are right.
Sometimes they are right.
Yep.
A lot of the films that I love are very poorly received critically.
Mm-hmm.
I unironically love Godzilla movies as a big example.
Love Godzilla.
Yeah.
And I unironically love the American Godzilla that everybody hated.
Oh, the one with Matthew Broderick in it?
Yeah, love that movie.
It has its moments.
But again, I haven't seen it in a long time though. But as a kid, oh my god, I watched it all the time.
I had every single toy that came out of it, so Like, and not just some of them, every single one.
I don't think I had any.
Yeah. I had all the baby Godzillas, and I had all this. I had a Godzilla that moved around and roared.
I love Jean Reno's in it, and he's an amazing actor. And also Hank Azaria is in it, who, for my money, is one of the 2 funniest people on the planet.
Is Jean Reno the dude from The Professional?
Yes.
I still haven't seen that.
That is your movie.
Yeah, you keep telling me that, and I still just haven't seen it.
Yeah, you should watch. It's not horror, but we could do a bonus episode on it just to.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Yeah, but you got to make sure you see like the untampered with version.
That is always my goal when watching a movie.
There's a lot to talk about in that movie. Okay, so on to structure and themes. Normally with a film, we talk about if it's a good adaptation or not. This is a bit of an experiment for us. We knew this movie was based on a novel, but we didn't really have time to fit in the book. So we said, oh, well, we'll try it once. We'll do the movie.
We'll do the reverse.
Yeah. I don't really know. I didn't look up any, like, adaptation-specific reviews to find out. I know nothing about the book other than it's written by Joe Hill.
I know that the cover has a pitchfork on it.
Yeah. which doesn't make me think the book is going to be too much better.
Yeah. And honestly, like, when I looked up the cover of the book, I was like, does this movie have anything to do with the book? Because I only knew the cover for the movie. I was like, oh, maybe it's like a loose adaptation. Then I watched the movie. I was like, no, there's a pitchfork in there.
When I was ready to watch this movie, I knew nothing about it other than it had something to do with the devil. Daniel Radcliffe was in it, and it was based on a Joe Hill book. Beck and Emma were like, oh, should we watch this with you? And I said, oh, well, let's watch the trailer. So I pulled up the trailer on YouTube, and I was like, oh my god, I wish I wouldn't have watched the trailer. Because it's just like all the shit with him like kicking the pitchfork and it flips up into his hands.
Oh, like an action movie?
Yeah, I was like,
that's a bad trailer.
It's so bad. Bad trailer for a bad movie. Alright, so let's talk about genre. Not exactly horror, but definitely has some horror elements. Dark fantasy has been used to describe this. Dark comedy.
Dark fantasy is probably a really good one. It also has mystery elements in it.
Thriller elements.
I think it's if you call it a mystery, I'd say it's a bad mystery, or at least it sets up the mystery poorly.
Yeah, that's...
Because the first flashback scene, I go, oh, he killed her. The very first one.
Alright, so if we're going to get into this, I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I figured out who the killer was within 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was. And then I talked myself into no, that's so dumb and generic.
It's so obvious. I tried to do the same thing.
My thought was okay, that's a misdirect. And Daniel Radcliffe actually killed her.
Oh, that would have been good.
I know. And I was like, okay, so now we got to find out how, what went on between them that he ended up killing her and he doesn't remember, and the actual story is going to be him unraveling this to discover I killed her.
Instead it was literally, it wasn't me, it was the 8-fingered man.
The most generic, stupid, it's obvious, and it does with not only the friend but also the brother. They do those stupid cutaways where Daniel Radcliffe will turn around and then it shows those two characters, and it does the musical cue where it's oh, this is a suspicious person. Yeah, no, I was real upset.
I don't know how much of that is a directing thing and how much is a plot thing. After I watched the movie, I had to look it up, and apparently the book is a first-person narration. So it's told from, I don't even remember the character's name.
Ig.
It's told from Ig's perspective, and it's also told out of order. But I'm like, if the first flashback you give me is blowing up your friend's hand,
yeah,
and then him going, hey, I should give this chick the cross,
yeah,
I'm like, that's him, that's the killer.
Yeah.
maybe in the book Ig is actually the killer, I don't know.
I talked myself into thinking that it would end up being Ig, and then of course was super mad when that's not what happened. But yeah. I can still criticize it for having a super obvious killer.
Yeah.
Okay, so flashbacks. How'd you like the flashbacks? How they were incorporated into the story? Do you think that it helped build the tension and give Exposition.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of flashbacks in movies, but then again, like I said, I looked up, and the book is told out of order.
Which, that makes me a little more interested in the book.
one of the only ways you can do that is to do flashbacks in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's probably true. But I thought there's a little too many flashbacks.
It was giving me like he was trying to do like an It-ish story with, a group of kids who were friends in a small town, and things happen as kids, and
now it's different as an adult.
And there's
a mystery, and mysteries they benefit from flashbacks a lot, where you get like bits and pieces of information. Mm-hmm. I feel like we were given too much information right away.
I kind of feel like after that huge flashback at the beginning, we kind of knew exactly how the movie was going to end, and
I hate to say this, I think this movie needed to be longer to do what it wanted to do.
Or, like you said, break up that flashback throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I also saw the cancer thing coming like 100 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Themes. So the first thing I have written down for themes is childhood relationships turning to adult relationships, and how, two people interact as kids versus how they interact as adults. And you see that a lot in this movie, both with I know his name is Ig, but I'm going to say Daniel Radcliffe.
I was going to say Harry Potter the whole time, but...
Yeah. All right. So Harry and how he is with his girlfriend as kids, and then how they are as adults, and the same with his brother and his best friend and the cop in the closet. And their other friend.
I literally made that joke because the girl I was hanging out with who just saw them start making out and was like, I don't understand. I was like, he makes them do their most secret desires, so I guess they were in the closet.
And that's what he says to them. And he's like, don't you guys just want to like suck each other off instead?
Yeah.
That's one theme. Another one is removing people's filters and people's darkest secrets, like you just said.
Yeah.
And the thing that I was wondering the whole time I'm watching it is the things that people are saying to him, are these things that they consciously know, or are these subconscious wants and desires that they don't acknowledge to themselves?
I don't know if the movie makes it clear one way or the other.
I don't think it does.
It could be both.
Yeah.
Like, there are some... I think everyone has a dark impulse or a dark thought.
Everybody has dark thoughts.
And sometimes you even go, oh, wow, that was dark even for me.
I threw Lois Lane in the ocean.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a DC Super Pets reference.
But...
They're about to go into battle, and the squirrel's like, I don't want to do this. I have all these dark thoughts in my head. And Crypto's like, listen, I thought about throwing Lois Lane in the ocean to get her away from Superman. So, but I didn't do it. We all have these thoughts. It's your actions that matter.
Yeah. God, you distracted me. But then there are some things that are more deeply rooted in subconscious. Mm-hmm. And those are things that kind of form habits and deeply rooted beliefs.
The one that took me the most off guard was I don't even remember which character it was. The one that said I think it was the doctor who said that he wanted to get a piece of his daughter's friend's ass. And like, is that like something that he just like walks around with in the front of his head, or is that something that is in the back of his mind that he just like never admitted to himself, and now because he's having this, I don't know how to explain it, influence from the devil, it's just able to come right out?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm the best person to comment on this particular one.
Why? Because you creep on elementary schools?
No. Just I always say the wrong things when it comes to sex opinions, so I try to minimize it.
That's editing for me.
Humans are really weird with their sexual wiring.
Yeah, just beat them up, beat them to death. It'll give me something to jerk off to later, except I'm going to picture you both naked. Oh, thanks, I like to picture you naked too.
Yeah, exactly.
As much as I dislike this movie, it did have humorous moments.
I really related to the mom wanting to kick the kid.
I did not. I hated that woman.
Should I just kick my daughter?
No!
I think about setting mommy on fire.
I would, if that lady was my mom, I'd set her on fire too, or think about it. And then a huge theme is devil, hell, biblical imagery. If the concept of on the nose needed a poster
I was literally gonna say that.
It's this movie. Like, oh my god. The horns are one thing, but then the snakes and the pitchfork. The pitchfork is where I just was like almost entirely checked out. And then he gets burned, so his skin's all super red. And it's just like, oh my god. Like, this is the most, like, generic devil imagery. Like, nobody really even I would assume that people, and I don't know, but do Christian people really think that the devil is red and has horns and walks around with a pitchfork? I don't think so.
Which denomination? Because I can tell you Baptist 100% sort of picture that.
And so that's the one. When I was a kid, my mom forced me to go to a Baptist church, and
Like-
they didn't talk about the devil at all.
Yeah, like Southern Baptists are like, oh, the devil is the Lord of lies, and he's going to torture you in hell. Catholics have a little bit of a different view.
That wasn't my experience in a Baptist church, but that was back in like middle school. So
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of room to comment, but I was forced to go to a Baptist church, or I was forced to go to a Methodist church for 2 or 3 years, and then I was forced to go to a Baptist church for like 4 or 5 years.
I've been to Methodist, Baptist. I've gone to a couple Jehovah's Witness meetings, so that was fun. I thought I would be able to like do something really funny there, and it just made me sad. I was like, oh god, your guys' lives are depressing.
Yeah.
So, my entire dad's family, except for my dad, is Catholic.
They have the best mythology.
Yeah. Well, because they also got like saints and shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having DC superheroes. Like you got your God and Jesus. There's your Superman and your Batman, but then you also got like Saint Jude, and he's like your Blue Beetle.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
So characters. We'll talk about them as characters and as performance. Egg Parrish, our main character, who I thought they were calling him Nick for like the first like 45 minutes.
I thought it was ick. Like
Yeah.
they were being mean to him, like he was gross.
So I eventually realized when he kept being called Iggy,
Yeah.
it's a David Bowie reference.
Okay, I didn't get that.
Iggy Stardust is a David Bowie song. At the
Okay.
in the beginning of the movie, when he first takes her to the treehouse, there's a David Bowie poster, and she says, "Oh, you're a Bowie fan?"
Okay, so this would make more sense if I like do music things.
I know random music things.
I knew that his dad was a musician.
Yeah, and his dad and brother are musicians.
That scene actually reminded me of me and my dad, because my dad is so disappointed that I'm tone deaf.
Yeah,
Like it physically makes him sad.
So my dad plays guitar and writes his own songs. My mom is a singer, and my brother plays almost 10 instruments, like guitar, banjo, mandolin, ukulele, harmonica, drums, piano. What?
I said that's hot.
Yeah. So I totally was sympathizing with Harry there in that moment.
Yeah, because my Dustin, even though he's not like in bands or anything, he was like in band in school and he did music. But every time my dad tried to get me to do music, he's like, Daniel, that's not the beat. And I'm like, the what?
Yeah, I have issues with rhythm.
Yeah.
It's particularly where I never really got into DDR or Guitar Hero.
I hate them so much. I can't do patterns.
I don't know that I don't hate them. I'm just not good at them. So that's a game where I swear you have to be good at those games to enjoy it.
That's why I play RPGs and stat management.
Yeah.
I can do that.
I can do resource management games and building characters and setting up equipment classes and that sort of stuff.
I even hate the QuickTime events, and even though I love like Until Dawn and stuff, every time there's a QuickTime event, I'm like, motherfucker.
I'm okay with those, but the thing about QuickTime events in RPGs is you can usually screw it up a couple times and then do it again.
Yeah.
Unlike something like Guitar Hero, where
That's the whole game.
yeah, exactly.
What were we talking about? Iggy.
Iggy.
I thought the premise for his character was okay.
I like the premise for the movie.
Yeah, like, he's a dude who's been accused of murder. There's, like, press following him around everywhere. There's protesters. It reminded me a lot of, I'm not going to give any, like, real-world examples because I don't want to get, political.
The most interested I was in this movie was, like, the first, like, 30-ish minutes.
Because you even have, like, the parents who you can clearly see think he did it.
And that's the biggest giveaway is, like, every character you meet in the first half hour thinks he does it, except for his friend the lawyer, who knows he didn't do it because he did it.
Yeah, I guess.
Flag.
Yeah, that should have been my first giveaway. Mm-hmm. But I didn't even think we were gonna meet the lawyer at first. Like, to me, like when I first heard it, it was like a throwaway.
That's when I first suspected him, and then when I was convinced, was he was the only character who couldn't see the horns. I was like, okay, for sure he did it.
I was convinced from the cherry bomb. Or not even the cherry bomb, the cross. Trade me something for the cross.
I was trying to talk myself out of it. Like, no, they wouldn't do that. That's so dumb and generic. And it's not even like the end was like played out in a, you know, you can do like a movie cliche and still make it like entertaining, but that's not how this movie went down. And I'm not going to try and say, well, I would have done it, because I don't know what. I was not entertained. At least the end. There were entertaining parts of this movie.
And like I could understand Iggy getting super frustrated and even like pissing on stuff and cursing God. That's just kind of shit that people do.
I'm gonna piss on my dead girlfriend's memorial flowers.
I don't think leading with the "Are you horny?" thing was a great introduction for him. Or when the movie first started, I swear to God, dude, where they were like, "I'll love you for the rest of my life. How about just for the rest of mine?" I was like, is this a Twilight movie?
I was about to say,
Is this a vampire movie?
I have never read or watched Twilight, but this is how I picture Twilight in my head.
This is 100% like that dialogue right there, like, because I've read the first Twilight book, 100%. And I was just like, I didn't think this was like a Twilight ripoff. Is this why Nick's fucking with me?
No, that I thought I had like Twilight stuff going through my head the entire time. And even doesn't Twilight take place in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah. I can't remember exactly where, but the book wasn't worth remembering, so.
Beautiful scenery in this movie.
Yeah, about his horns. Do we have anything to say with, like, when he developed his horns, or?
I don't know. It was just weird.
Because he develops... there were things that I liked, but they didn't seem to follow through with all the time. Like, the doctor says, every time I look away, I forget they exist.
Yeah, they kept, like, teasing lore about the horns. And it's one of those things where it's hard to walk the line between over-explaining and not giving enough information, but this one definitely leaned hard into not giving you enough information about.
I think they should have given even less if that's the route they were going to go.
I was interested in, like, so why did he get horns? Why does he have devil powers? Like, is he, like, the Yusuke Urameshi, and the devil fucked one of his ancestors like 20 generations ago, and that seed's been sitting in him forever? And
I'm even fine with it being a semi-random event because he pissed God off.
And now he's unkillable and he can control people.
Yeah. The movie also walks this line with like the themes it's trying to explore, which is, and one of the big ones is sometimes it's not, like, revenge isn't the path you should take. You should learn to do things the right way.
Oh, this is totally a revenge movie, though.
And at the end, they try to go, the horns weren't the way to do this, only for them to immediately go, no, you guys just got to use the horns.
Which, I'm not a big revenge movie guy.
Yeah.
And the whole last 30 minutes of this turned into a revenge movie.
It looked like it was trying to give a moral lesson at the end. And then it just kind of walks back and going, no, sometimes revenge is the only way you can do it.
I guess you could say that it was an anti-revenge moral lesson, but the character just didn't listen. I don't know. It was... And then he dies. Yeah. So, performance, I thought Daniel Radcliffe did a pretty good job. Like, I was unhappy with the movie and somewhat about the character, but I think with what he had to work with, he did a good job.
I think he did okay. I honestly was expecting a little bit more out of him, and I'm not sure why.
There is a character here that I felt like was totally wooden, as opposed to the rest of the cast, but we'll get to that person.
Okay.
I just don't think that he had, like, a lot of opportunities to act. Like, he was just, like, walking around, driving around angry for, like, 90% of this movie. Like, I'm going here, talk to this person, I'm pissed. Now I'm going to this next place, talk to this person, now I'm pissed. And then it's just...
It looked like he had pepper spray in his eyes the whole time.
Yeah, no, he looked like he hadn't been sleeping for... And I guess that it was implied that he was up drinking every night, but...
Yeah.
Maren Williams, played by Juno Temple... Not so much a character.
Was that the redheaded girlfriend? Because I can't remember any of these characters' names.
Yeah, that's the girl.
Okay, that's
the one who is killed.
Nah, that's the dead girl.
That is the dead girl. So you can't really comment on her as a character.
Ryan, people aren't just with one person, Ryan. You got to go out and get your dick wet, Harry.
When she said, like, literally no one in the world is ever with just one person. I'm sitting here, 34 years old, only been with one person. I'm like, well, There's at least one.
I tried to be with only one person, and now I'm a man whore, so...
Hopefully I'm going to live more than 34 years. I suppose it's possible she dumps me, and then I'm like, well, okay. But...
Let me go to Daniel and see if he has a little black book.
Can I have your little black book? Dude, it's called Tinder.
And don't use Tinder, it'll depress you.
Can I have your Tinder box? Oh, yeah, I'm going to use the Slasher dating app.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. The horror dating app. A horror dating app? No, horror dating app.
I will only see her if she's into spooky movies. So I heard that line and I just immediately was like, oh my god, really? Is that the direction we're going?
As soon as like the diner scene, I'm like, okay, she is cheating on him or she has cancer and she's dying and she's trying to break up with him to save his... So he doesn't, because her mom died of cancer. We know that from the flashback.
Yeah.
And who the real victim of this movie is her dad.
Yeah, her dad, man. I feel kind of bad for him.
Did you recognize him from another Stephen King property?
Mm-mm.
He is the main character of The Langoliers.
The pilot dude?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know, like 30 years ago.
Yeah, but now I can see it.
Yeah.
He has the same mustache.
Yeah.
He never trimmed it or tried a new look.
No. He has actually been in a lot of Stephen King stuff. He was also in Hearts of Atlantis and The Green Mile. This isn't a Stephen King thing.
Yeah, but I mean, close enough.
Adjacent.
Jonah Hill, like, I know he writes under a different name, but everyone knows him as Stephen King's son.
You really just called him Jonah Hill.
Did I? Is it not Jonah Hill?
Joe.
Oh.
Jonah Hill's the fat kid from Superbad.
They're not the same person.
You know they're not. I'm not going to believe that for a second.
I'm still going to call him Jonah Hill.
That's fine. I mean, Tom Curry, yeah. Jonah Hill, like, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not great with names.
What do you call, what's his face? Urza Miller.
Yeah, it's Urza Miller.
Yeah, it's not Ezra, it's Urza.
No, it's Urza now. I felt bad for some of the lines she had to deliver.
Yeah, I mean, I think she maybe is a good actress. This was not the movie to see that from her.
Yeah. Next.
Terry Parrish, the brother, played by Joe Anderson, who I know from Across the Universe, where he plays Maxwell, the guy who kills people with hammers.
You want to be the most suspicious brother on the planet?
It went so far to make him and the friend look suspicious, and I'm like, oh my god, please be a distraction. And I'm like, no. Maybe the commentary from the director is like, well, 9 times out of 10 it is the most obvious person. I'm like, yeah, but this is a movie.
I don't know. There's a reason I try not to write mysteries, because they're either too obvious or they're too obtuse.
Yeah. Like,
the twist doesn't make any logical sense.
It's hard. It's really hard to write mysteries, and that's why, there's like a handful of really famous mystery authors, and then other than that, the genre is kind of paperback, dime store kind of novels.
Yeah, it's like horror.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's easier to tell a good horror story than a good mystery story, though.
I mean, I agree to that.
There's so many different ideas as to what a good horror story is, but
you can appeal to different audiences with it.
But a good mystery story, like there's only so many ways you can go with that.
Hold on, since we brought up the Langoliers, I'm a mystery author. Mysteries are my bread and butter. That dude who talks like fucking Captain Kirk in that movie.
Yeah.
I love that guy. He's my favorite character in the Langoliers.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I like that. I like him. Him and the bad guy are probably my 2 favorite characters.
Oh, dude, yeah. God, who plays the bad guy in the Langoliers?
I don't remember. Let's look it up.
Yeah, we'll look it up real quick.
That's more interesting than Horns.
David, is it Morse or Morse?
Probably Morse. So yeah, he was in The Green Mile, and he was in one episode of Robot Chicken.
Where's my Langoliers? I want my Tom Holland movie.
He was in 12 Monkeys.
It's right there. The Langoliers.
He was also in The Good Son.
Oh, there's the blind psychic girl.
Bad guy's name was Toomey.
Yeah.
Toomey, yeah. Bronson Pinchot. The ABC sitcom Perfect Strangers. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It'll probably occur to me later. But yeah, he's probably my favorite character.
Yeah. He overacts just enough.
Yeah, it's
for a Stephen King miniseries.
Super funny.
Is anything else to say on this girl before we move on to the next
we're
one?
actually-
We're on the brother.
Yeah,
Yeah, I liked his drug scene.
Yeah, I liked his drug scene too.
It was a little much, but I thought that was a...
I was actually kind of being sympathetic towards the brother until he, like, totally tried to creep on Marin when he's, like, driving her home.
Yeah.
But I guess in his defense, he didn't murder her as opposed to the other guy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of dudes... That's the one thing is, like, it's like if everybody tried to make a move on Bev.
Yeah. I was getting a lot of Beverly vibes.
That's the vibe I was getting, is like everybody has a crush on this girl except the girl.
Yeah.
The other girl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe when she just dumps her brother is not the best time to make her move, though.
Oh.
I don't know. Okay, so Lou Turneau, who is the character played by Max Minghella, who's actually, I've never seen him in anything else, but he's a big TV actor. Is in the show that everybody likes, The Handmaid's Tale.
The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
You know, I was 2 seasons into that before I realized it wasn't supposed to be erotic. It's like 6 of my fetishes rolled up into a single show.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it or read the book, but I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be erotic.
It's got a breeding kink, clothed females,
Oh, yeah.
cuck sluts.
Yeah. Oh, that book, The Cuck?
Yeah.
It's only 67 pages long.
Oh, we should do it.
Hold on. Let me look it up on Amazon. We'll talk about anything except for horns. I probably shouldn't type The Cuck into Amazon.
I don't know.
Oh, there.
Yeah, it's like right there.
So it's like $3.50 on Kindle. Paperback's $11.
I don't know if I want to spend $11 on it. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't like reading on Kindle, but if it's 76 pages.
I might buy it, but we should discuss it. We should put that on like the back burner for like a.
Let's read the summary real quick. He's always watching. Mickey and Ben were searching for a cure to the boredom. After one too many drinks, that obscure back page sex ad somehow sounded appealing. The old man seemed kind enough. His frail, weathered body was no longer able to please his wife, and selflessly, he hoped that the boys would. He just wanted his Bessie to feel pleasure. He wanted it so bad that he needed to see it with his own eyes. When it was all over, the evening of debauchery felt like a distant nightmare. The only problem was that it was a nightmare neither Mickey nor Ben could awaken from.
This sounds fucking amazing.
I think we're going to do this book.
It's going to be another Confederado, but I have to now. God, it has a lot more ratings than the Confederado.
Yeah, let's look it up on Goodreads.
4.5 stars after 6,000 ratings? Really?
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
I wonder if we could buy the movie rights. Let's do that instead of $1, baby.
I wonder what they would sell the movie rights for.
Maybe we can get them on for an interview.
Okay.
Almost 4 stars on...
Yeah, and about 200 reviews.
That's a lot better than I was fucking expecting, I'm gonna be honest.
I'm looking at Aaron Beauregard.
That reminds me, I need to have you write my About Author section.
Yeah. The Slob, Son of the Slob. This is some of their other works. Scary Bastard, Yellow. The Cuck, Wedding Day Massacre. So Sorry.
These sound amazing.
Yellow looks super pulpy and fun. Okay, yeah, I think we should look into that.
Okay.
That looks fun. Lou, the bad guy. This was the performance I was really not feeling. Like, I don't feel... It was so, like, wooden and unemotional.
Man, we were dating for like 2 months.
Yeah.
This is all it was, man. I didn't want to worry you.
And the worst part for me... and this is going to sound bad, but it was the rape scene. Like, it was so, like, not believable. Like,
You didn't like how he just went, like they full on show him lick his hand.
yeah, I mean, it's just like...
It was uncomfortable to watch. I'm not against rape scenes being in movies, but I do think that there's like a line between... What's the best rape scene in any movie? It's in Perfect Blue, and it's not really a rape scene.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a rape of the character psyche, so...
Yeah.
The second best one's in Paprika. So
Satoshi Kon, you sick man.
he mastered the art of rape scenes.
It's hard because it's got to be like totally serious, but
You can't play it for laughs.
it's got to be uncomfortable, which this was uncomfortable, but I didn't believe either character, and
I don't know how to describe what my issue with the rape scene is,
yeah.
other than I'm sitting there watching it going, huh, okay.
And that's after watching him for 2 hours just be like the least emotive person in this pretty emotive movie.
While being the most suspicious person.
Yeah, and I already didn't like him because it was just they were laying it on so thick that he was...
Why do you have her cross? She gave it to me.
You know,
It was...
it would have been better to me if you just found out at the beginning that he was the killer.
That would have been fine. I part of me wants to read the book now, but part of me is afraid of like exercising the labor of reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on a few things. Like one, we might already know the mystery,
Yeah.
so that doesn't help because now it's going to be super obvious no matter what. Unless they changed it for the movie, which I guess is possible.
If they did change the end for the movie, then I'm definitely interested in reading the book. It's not a short book. It's not a super long book, but
but it's not like...
it's not a it's not like a 200-page book.
This is definitely something I have to do on Audible.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I have a credit I need to spend.
So, for just real quick on Joe Hill, I've never read any of his other stuff, but I've always wanted to read Nosferatu. Have you heard of this one?
I think you've told me about it, but it's not ringing a bell.
It's his take on Dracula. I don't know much about
I
it.
want to compare it to his dad's take on Dracula.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not as good.
We could do like a, how we did Phantoms in It, but with dad and son.
That would be good.
Yeah.
But all I know about it is it's his take on Dracula. It takes place in the dead of winter, and it has to do with a child abduction.
Okay.
So, and the audiobook is read by Kate Mulgrew, a.k.a. Captain Janeway from Star Trek Voyager. So, that's hot for me.
I know that he did The Black Phone, which is the reason I didn't see The Black Phone in theaters, despite all the good reviews for it. Because I wanted to read the book first.
I've seen the movie Full Throttle, which I forgot he was a part of.
Okay, so he rode in the tall grass with his dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I haven't read or watched that. Abraham's Boys.
My worst fear is I'm going to have children and they'll be better writers than me.
Wouldn't that be a good thing?
Yeah, actually, I would prefer them to be better writers and get a better jump start on doing it.
Yeah, I mean...
100%.
I want my kids to be better than...
Magic players.
Yeah, well, that's not hard. Drake probably already is.
I don't know, I think you're a pretty good Magic player.
I'm okay, I guess. Okay.
Like, I'd give you like a 7 out of 10.
70. I'll take it.
I'm more of a 4 out of 10, so I'm on a good day.
There's a lot of characters in this movie. I only wrote down the group of kids.
Which one was Fatty?
That's Eric. The character is Eric Hannity, played by Michael Adamwaite.
What did they call him? Meatbag?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because I was calling him Fatty, like other Fatty.
He's the mean gay Ben Hanscom.
Yeah.
He was like, I was so pissed when he didn't give him the cherry bomb. I was like, what the? She's like, no, I said do it naked, and you were wearing underwear.
I 100%. Listen, dude, I'm watching that movie, right? And, like, maybe it's because... I don't know if I was bored or, like, what. But I was sitting there, and, like, he gets in, like, the cart.
Mine cart.
And I'm like, you're not naked, though.
I know.
I was sitting there, like, did they just not want the kid to be naked? Because I understand that.
Yeah.
But you could have... I was like, just change the line to your underwear. But then the kid brings it up. I'm like, hey, this kid should be a lawyer. He should have been the lawyer.
And he becomes a cop.
And,
when the cruiser is a... rockin', don't come a knockin'.
And I only thought it was funny because, like, the movie for a certain amount of time had, like, this weird aversion to nudity. Mm-hmm. Like, one of my favorite scenes was when that big black dude is just going ham on that housewife, but she's still wearing booty shorts and a top. And I'm like, how you getting in there, buddy?
You just pull the crotch aside.
Yes, they looked like actual shorts to me. Like, it looked like a lot to pull to the side. But literally, like, everything was clothed, and then all of a sudden there was a random titty.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why didn't you just have that girl get, like, the girl that was willing to show the titty, why don't you have her get railed by the big black guy?
I don't... that didn't bother me. Partially clothed sex scenes don't bother me.
They annoy the heck out of me. They either need more clothes or less.
I'm okay with any amount. That's not a hill I'm going to die on.
I connected that with the kid in his underwear going, okay, so this movie has, like, a weird thing about nudity. And then a dude just shows his dick, and I'm like, well, I guess not.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, that's right. I want everybody to see my dick. This is what I want all the time.
That was the scene where I tricked myself into thinking the movie was going to be secretly good.
Yeah. That was pretty... So, the part...
There were a few scenes like that where I go, is this movie, like, secretly super smart?
What I enjoyed was a few of the interactions where people just unleash, like, these terrible secrets on him. Again, I don't know how it is in the book, and I can't say that I would write it better, because I definitely couldn't have, because I wouldn't have even came up with this. Yeah.
But I almost kind of wish that it was, like, more subtle at first. Like, he's sort of growing the horns, and people are confessing, like, little things, and they get bigger, and he's confused as to what they are.
Yeah, no, it's sort of like, you know, can I eat all these donuts? Can I eat all 6 donuts? And then the next lady's like, I'm going to leave my child here forever.
Yeah. Like, even the donuts thing was a giant, like, leap for me. When she, like, was asking about the one donut, I was like, oh, is that what the horns do? That's kind of cool. And then she's like, I want to, like, just shove down this whole bag. I was like, oh, okay, it's just gonna, like, big impulses.
Yeah.
Nobody loves me. You were thinking of your girlfriend the whole time.
I mean,
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you banged me after you saw me pissing on her grave, so at least maybe you think I'm innocent.
All right, so let's talk about the last character of this quote-unquote Losers Club, Glenna Shepherd, played by Kelly Gardner. I thought she was probably the most sympathetic of all the characters.
100%.
Yeah. Like, they actually built her character a little better than any of the guys. Like, you learned that she has no self-confidence, and
you guys act like you've never seen a girl before.
she hangs out with guys and uses sexual favors from them to feel something.
And they think of her as trash as a result.
But she's in love with the one guy who won't do anything with her.
I found that super sympathetic. I actually kind of would have liked more of that character.
Yeah, there was a point where I was just like, why don't you just get in the car and go with her and just fucking leave?
I honestly also kind of liked Fatty, mostly just because of his lawyer logic, because that is something like a kid would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually super pissed when he died at the end. I was like, no, he just found love!
I'll kill you all! I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all! I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
I thought when his brother found the girl's body on the floor of the forest, and she was like super overexposed and like chill white, that was kind of scary. And then when the snakes come like up under the car and bite the girl, that was kind of scary. Other than that, no, it was not scary at all. But it's not really a horror movie, so
yeah,
I'm not going to fault it too much for that.
It's a dark fantasy mystery.
It's a dark fantasy mystery black comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess there are parts that I laughed at.
Thriller.
So
I laughed a lot.
Yeah. And I think I even laughed at parts I was supposed to laugh at.
I would have been... This is one of those movies that I would have been... if I saw it in theaters with Beck, she would have been punching me in the kidneys because I'd be laughing hysterically at inappropriate things.
Yeah. I want everyone to see my tape. All the time.
Oh, you know what else I thought was super funny? What are you guys doing? Oh, we're having sex. Like, we asked you if we could have sex instead of doing the surgery. You said it was okay. How can I say it was okay? I was under, like, you kind of, like, nodded.
Yeah, you nodded a little. That's one of the parts where I'm like, okay, so how do the horn powers work exactly?
Yeah, it's hard.
It was funny, but then I started, like, questioning movie logic, and the more you question movie logic, the more you're out of the experience.
Yeah, I could not succinctly explain to you how the horns work. I can't tell you how he got the horns.
I didn't even care how he got the horns. I'm willing to let that slide as long as I can follow what the rules are.
I don't know.
But there didn't seem to be... Like, he grows angel wings at the end.
That, I was completely checked out at that point.
He fucking takes off the cross and goes Super Saiyan 3.
I can tell you... I can explain the snakes. He's a parcel tongue, so he talks to snakes. Other than that, I don't know how...
We finally got a good Harry Potter joke.
Yay!
15 minutes. How did we talk about this for 15 minutes? Oh, because we talked about the Langoliers for 20.
Yeah. All right, movie's not scary.
Oh, hold on. Now let's talk about the sex scenes.
We already did. You were upset that they had too many clothes.
Yeah, I want more clothes.
I'm going to copy and paste that into Kiss Me Fat Boy instead of in characters.
And we already talked about the rape scene. Yeah, I guess we covered it.
Yeah.
That's all you get. You get clothed sex and rape.
You didn't think the treehouse sex was kind of hot?
I'm gonna be honest, I forgot about it.
Yeah. I liked her outfit. I thought it was cute. Like,
hey, she was very Girls Next Doorsy.
Yeah. Oh, we should watch The Girls Next Door. That could be a good bonus episode.
Yeah, I like Girls Next Door.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
The power of Christ compels you. Talking about stuff that's on the nose.
Yeah.
Eve's family diner with a giant apple as the sign. When Harry shows up at the bad guy's house at the end, and he walks out and goes, "Well, I'll be damned." Did you catch?
We both became devils.
Did you catch Luke 2036?
No, I didn't know what that is.
Okay, so his license plate is LUK 2036.
Okay.
So I googled Luke 2036, and it's...
God, you got a keen eye.
And they can no longer die, for they are like angels. They are God's children, since they are the children of resurrection. And I noticed that like halfway through the movie, so I was like, oh, okay, so at some point in this movie, he's going to die and come back.
Okay.
Which happened, and it even involved his car, which had the license plate that said Luke 2036 on it.
This movie is surprisingly more Jesus-y than you'd think, being the cross is the only safeguard against his powers, and it's the only thing that redeems him.
Yeah.
And then he throws away the redemption to kill the bad guy. Granted, I don't know what else he was supposed to do then.
No, I mean, like, I'm not saying I wouldn't have done the same thing in his situation. It's just...
Like, the movie set up choosing a path other than just murdering for revenge, and then they just double back on it. Yeah. And that can be okay whenever, like, somebody doesn't get the theme of their own movie. A character doesn't, like, they fail the theme.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say earlier. You just said it much more intelligently than I did.
But I don't like it when someone fails the theme, because then I wonder what's the point of trying to explore the theme.
I don't know if I have so much opinion on that. I was just really checked out by the end of it. I thought the angel wings looked really bad.
That looked really bad.
Didn't understand it at all. And then he went like full devil, and I was just like, is he the devil? Is he a demon? Like, does he become a demon so he can get his revenge? Is that the trade he makes?
And that's the thing. I think I was trying to say about the horns. Like, I can accept a random superpower just happening. Like, you have an idea for like a movie. Mm-hmm. A guy can make people confess their worst sins. How does he do it? He I don't know. He grows devil horns. Why does he grow devil horns? I don't know. I'm fine ending it there, as long as it doesn't get too much further. But then he's growing angel wings and going full Super Saiyan demon and taking shotgun blast to the tum-tums.
Yeah. I guess he became a demon.
Yeah, at that point I need an explanation.
Yeah, and people weren't confessing their worst sins. It was like confessing the sins they wanted to commit.
Yeah, they were confessing their impulses.
Yeah. Like
the things, their id, what they usually keep in check.
The one that I felt the worst for Harry / Daniel / Ig was, and it was also just a terrible, cheesy, cringy line, was when his dad said, "She was my favorite part of you," and he says, "She was my favorite part of me too."
That was another real Twilight-y line. The movie had a lot of things like that.
This is how the whole time I was thinking Twilight.
What was it that he said to the dad? Sometimes there is no right answer. There's just the one you can live with.
It's the sin that you're most comfortable living with.
Yeah.
It was a little better, but yeah.
The movie was filled with lines. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's reflective of the book.
Maybe. Those could have been lines right out of the book.
Yeah. And sometimes in books you can get away with that because you might have more dialogue.
Yeah.
But
they stick out less.
They
when you're not hearing them audibly.
Oh my God! Are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Kings and Koontz. So your king is the cop getting shot.
I laughed so hard, Ryan. I was like, well, I guess I didn't see it coming.
No.
And his head just explodes like a tomato.
Yeah.
And it actually looked halfway decent. I'm like, is that why the entire effects budget went?
No, as soon as that happened, I was just like, but he and that guy finally got together.
He was the one that didn't try to bang his girlfriend.
Yeah, it's like he finally just like, he didn't like come out of the closet, but now he's being comfortable and he's got a guy friend and like, oh, that's sad. Like everybody else in that movie, the other three guys involved in that, all of their lives have gone to shit. But he's got a job and a guy and a boyfriend.
Yeah, he has a good career. He has a boyfriend now who he gets to see at work every day.
Every day, and that's why I wanted to be Eric's partner. And I'm like, oh, it's so cute. I just felt bad for her. Like the kill was fun, but
yeah, I audibly laughed so hard, Ryan.
That's fine. I'm sure I would have if it weren't for the previous stuff with that character.
Yeah.
My king is the beautiful Pacific Northwest filming location and all the gorgeous trees and plants and mountains that we got to saw. It was just, I was living in that because there wasn't...
I did like the logging town sort of setting.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of nice.
Oh my God, when he went off that thing, I was like, whatever, he's gonna go in water. What's the big fuck? And then I saw the logs. I'm like, oh my God, why would you do that if there's just all these logs floating under there? That's so stupid.
I had the same reaction. I was like, I don't understand why this is a big deal. And then I was like,
that's dangerous.
I'm like, that's really dumb.
Yeah. I've done some dumb things.
I've done some really dumb things. As a kid, as an adult. Mostly in my 20s with you.
Yeah, same. And Koontz's.
What is your Koontz, Ryan?
I don't know, like the rest of the movie. It's I guess my Koontz is the ending and the fact that the best friend was the killer and it was just so absurdly obvious.
I think mine also has to be like the angel wings into the big demon form.
Yeah. Like the whole last 30 to 40 minutes is just not great.
It's almost like something out of an anime.
One of my goals in this podcast is to try and not make people feel bad for liking things. And because I hate it when, I'm listening to a podcast or watching a YouTuber and they're trashing something and it making me feel bad for
yeah, because on some level it does feel personal.
Yeah,
because that's how human minds work. You form these familiar relationships with pieces of art.
Yeah. So I could see liking the ridiculous parts of this movie so much that you're willing to ignore the bad writing in it.
I think there's also some genuine comedy in the film.
Yeah.
Some of it intentional, some of it unintentional. I think Daniel Radcliffe does a good job.
Yeah, he's good, and I've seen him in some other non-Harry Potter things, and we're going to be doing...
But overall, personally, I didn't enjoy it.
No, I didn't either.
But trust me, I'm a huge fan of Man of Steel, and all I've heard for the past 10 years is how everyone hates that Superman movie. So
I hate the last act of it. I like the first two acts.
I love the Dragon Ball Z part.
No, that's the part I don't like.
Bam, bam, bam.
I like Krypton and I like Smallville, and then it's after that.
I unironically think that if they tried to do another live action Dragon Ball movie, I'm like, just give it to Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I probably wouldn't like it, but it's probably as good as it. You still haven't seen Dragon Ball Evolution, have you?
No.
It's so bad, but I find it hilarious how bad it. I enjoyed watching it because it was so terrible.
Maybe we'll do a bonus episode on that too.
Yeah, it is horrific. If we're gonna do that, we should do the Star Wars Holiday Special too. That's literally the worst thing I've ever seen. Rankings. Okay, it's gonna be pretty low, but not the bottom for me. I was thinking about this earlier. I'm going to put it fourth from the bottom. Below X and above Phantoms. I felt like there were more things in this movie I enjoyed. At least there were more comedic moments I laughed at than Phantoms. Like, Phantoms had almost nothing that was worth watching. And then I can't put it above Pearl or X because even though I didn't particularly like those movies, I can't really say that they're bad movies. They're just not for me.
And you're just counting down the days to Maxine.
I'm committed.
Yeah.
We're going to see it.
At this point, it's just a thing.
Yeah, we're going to do it. Whatever. Okay. And then I'm going to scroll to the bottom half of you.
Honestly, I think it's worse than Phantoms. Like, if you're taking the good from both movies, I think that Phantoms just has a little bit more to offer. It's super close. If we did ties here, I'd probably just put them next to each other.
Between Phantoms and all things you love.
Yeah, it's better than that. It's way better than Roar.
I mean,
I thought our running gag was going to be, is it worse than Phantoms for the rest of this podcast?
And now you have 3 things under Phantoms, and I think I have 2.
Yeah, and now I'm like, God, what's going to be worse than Roar?
I think, on principle, it's hard to put something under Roar. Yeah, but we'll see.
It's a bad movie on principle, and I think it's just not there's no actual plot. They changed the plot like 5 times in the movie.
Yeah, it's not entertaining, and people and animals were hurt.
Exactly.
All right, so for our question for the listeners, what other Joe Hill properties, be they books, short stories, or adaptations of his books and short stories, do you think we should review? Please let us know. Reach out to us on socials. And for further reading, if you enjoyed Horns, I guess go read Horns by Joe Hill.
Also, like and subscribe our YouTube channel and listen to all of our movie reviews.
Yeah.
And our Audible. What else are we on? Spotify? Slasher?
So for socials, we're on Twitter at HorrorPod69. Then you can search The Horror Babylon on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, and Goodreads.
Nice.
To listen to the show and check out our other content, you can go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, and any major podcast app we're going to be on. If you find one we're not, let me know, and I will get us on it.
We will fix that.
Yeah. So upcoming on The Horror of Babylon, we have some good things.
Oh, God, some very good things.
Some may say the best things. Next week is our new book episode. We are finally doing Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. And then we are going to do 4 adaptations. The week of Christmas, we are going to review Frankenstein from Thomas Edison, and then the Universal Frankenstein in one episode.
Mostly just because the Edison one's like 10 minutes long.
Yeah. And then we're going to do Junji Ito's episode. Junji Ito's Frankenstein is our first episode of the new year. And then we're going to do Victor Frankenstein starring Daniel Radcliffe the next week. And then halfway through January, we are going to start our Dracula coverage.
I cannot wait for the Dracula coverage.
Yeah.
I'm going to name my next cat Mina.
All right. Well, thank you for watching the Horns. And thank you, Nick, for having us watch Horns.
Thank you for participating in our 13 Days of Halloween giveaway.
Yeah.
Next year it might be 3 days of Halloween because 13 was...
be 1.
We'll just do a Halloween special.
Yeah, we might. We'll do like a big stream and do maybe like a couple giveaways, but not 13. It was too much.
I think we're better off if we just we'll promote our thing for the month and then do it on Halloween or the 30th into Halloween.
Yeah, that would be fine.
And do giveaways through you gotta watch in order to win the stuff.
Yeah.
So
next year, I'm guessing Halloween's on a Tuesday.
If everything goes according to my life plan, I will no longer be at Highland by then.
All right. Well, I guess we'll find out. We'll see you 1 year from 2 weeks ago, and we'll see where Daniel is. I'm sure I will still be at my current job, unfortunately, but that's okay because I got to pay the mortgage. Thanks, everybody. Stay scary.
Stay scary.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow Daniel at dstarsick on Twitter. Follow Ryan at Darth Damio on the Bluebird app. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/The Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.